I was lied to, and so are you. I have the receipts. What this all came down to was people saying that I was exchanging nudes with fans on Snapchat and Tumblr, and I always made it clear that it was for consenting adults only. It was an open invitation to those who wanted to participate. At no point did I ever pursue them. I never offered anyone anything in return. I also never threatened anyone any kind of punishment if they didn't. There was a power imbalance. It doesn't matter how neutral the intent was, just being in this position causes a power imbalance. I'm sorry. I feel that what I was doing was not predatory, but it was unhealthy. But that isn't the main grievance that everyone has with me. It's the other allegations by these two. Their tweets were some serious accusations. They both basically boil down to the same thing. The key word that they allege is that I did all of this knowingly and intentionally, which is false. And for the record, they both deleted their tweets shortly after their narratives were questioned. The most prominent accusation was the first one. What it claims is that he had sent me nudes while telling me he was only 16, and I said that I was okay with that and continued to spur him on. He states that he has no evidence of us ever interacting. What this leaves us with is his word versus mine, which gets us nowhere. I don't remember this even happening or even talking to this person. In his accusations, Chai sets the time frame for when all of this supposedly happened. Chai's accusation was that the things I supposedly did happened between March 2016 and May 2016. Chai also states that he has no memory during this exact same period and hallucinations continuing until August 2016. There is a possibility to consider that the hospital stay and the memory loss isn't true, that it was made up to garner sympathy. And if that's the case, how can we trust Chai's story about me? And if the hospital stay and memory loss story is true, how can we trust Chai's story about me? My Tumblr was hacked. If they were seeking to deal as much damage as possible, they would have gone through my private conversations and leaked damaging things. But nothing was leaked. Do you still feel that Chai's claims against me beyond a reasonable doubt? Charlie was able to back up their accusations by posting several screenshots of our messages onto Twitter. Each screenshot is accompanied with them providing subtext and opinions to poison the well before you even look at it. Unlike Chai, I actually do remember talking to Charlie. All of these images and poisoned well tactics that they posted on Twitter are the exact same things that they had emailed out to business associates of mine. This is one of the screens they put on Twitter, and this is the exact same screen included in those emails. Because they have these, it's very clear that Charlie had access to our entire conversation on Tumblr, but they still chose to only show carefully selected and carefully cropped images. If Charlie would have shown the very start of our messages, you would have seen where Charlie lied. Every single part of Charlie's allegations against me hinges on the belief that I didn't know their age and or didn't ask. I did ask their age, and they lied. They also clearly knew then that they were doing something they know they shouldn't and is doing something they know I'm not okay with. They knew about this from the get-go, which is why on Twitter, they immediately began to backpedal on their claims, changing their tone from claiming, I didn't say he knew my age, I said he was predatory. Predatory behavior would be targeting an individual and pursuing after them, often repeatedly. It was them who continued to initiate conversations with me unprompted numerous times for months along. But Charlie chose to omit that. And when they spoke with the Daily Beast, they lied in the interview about me never asking for their age. This is libel. Knabenbauer could have asked for my ID, and they could have. Why didn't I ask for people's IDs? And the answer is because that would be asking people to dox themselves, which seems... Besides, there's no way to verify IDs, and it's very easy for people to Photoshop up one, and if someone is going to lie to get somewhere, they're going to lie. In our entire conversation, I never sent them a dick pic. So all these beliefs that Jared sent nudes to minors is factually untrue. Even the claims that I was manipulative or coerced them are untrue, because I made it consistently clear, as I did with everyone else, that it was their choice if they wanted to, every time. Charlie and Chai began making these accusations against me back at the end of March, beginning of April this year. They were smearing my name back then by sending an email out with everything that you've seen already. And the first people they sent these accusations out to was the Game Grumps, not the police or law enforcement. This can be easily proven with a tweet Chai made to Aaron Hansen of the Game Grumps at the end of March about the email. Sometime around April 2nd, the Game Grumps privated every single video they've ever done with me because they believed the poisoned well and didn't ask me about it. It upset Charlie and Chai that I got in contact with them and tried to apologize. They called my apology manipulative. Here's the thing, I apologized to them because they wanted me to. Let's go back to the email that they sent out to the Game Grumps. Chai and Charlie state in that email that ideally they'd like me to always check the age of the people I'm talking to sexually, which I did, and to apologize to Chai and Charlie. So I did. But now let's look at the email that they sent to Normal Boots a couple of days later. Scroll down to the very same section and they deleted the part where they wanted me to apologize. They then weaponized my apology against me on Twitter after asking for it. That is literally manipulation. Something I've been trying to figure out through all of this is, why would they even do this? Money and attention. It's very clear that they both adore attention and desired it from the internet and especially from the Game Grumps. Both of them are massive fans of the Grumps. This is really easy to see from Chai having another article on Medium about meeting your idols and talks about meeting the Game Grumps the entire time. Charlie has another Tumblr called Ego Banged, dedicated to sexual fantasies of Dan and Aaron. The grab for attention ultimately proved successful. It even got them the attentions of their idols that they adored. And all of this gives them clout and social credits for taking down the bad guy. They both were aware of this and tried to capitalize on it. While all the drama was going on, Chai tweeted out links to his Amazon wish list, his PayPal, and to his coffee, and kept it pinned there for weeks. Even tweeted about it again at the end of May. Charlie's pinned tweet, and it's still there, is a link to their commissions page for art, and on this page is a link for donations, which goes straight to their PayPal. This isn't a coincidence. Chai and Charlie were not the only accusations of inappropriate behavior that came out. Pamela Horton tweeted out her own statements. Her statement alleges that at a Nintendo event in early 2015 that both she and I were attending, I looked up her nudes and forcefully showed them to a group of gentlemen also attending the event. When I first saw this, I had no idea what she was talking about. Statement was written in such a way as to make it seem as if she was present during the supposed instance, which she was not. She also left out a lot of details so that the story couldn't be verified, such as the gentleman in question. The anonymous person said, "He doesn't remember me doing this." Gerard said, "He doesn't remember me doing this and knows it's not something that I would do." So of the 4 gentlemen present, 3 of the 4 say it didn't happen. I will tell you what I do remember happening. While the 4 of us gentlemen were hanging out in one of our hotel rooms one of the evenings, somebody had mentioned that Pamela has a Bayonetta cosplay. At the time, I had a vested interest in cosplay due to my relationship with A, and I remember being audibly excited after I realized I had just seen Pamela as Bayonetta at E3 2014, where she was modeling the costume promoting Bayonetta 2 for the Wii U. I think this whole thing was a misunderstanding or misremembrance. I did not scour the internet for her nudes and then forcefully show them to a friend of mine and two strangers at the time. But that's not the end of her accusations. She goes on to talk about how I continued to show her disrespect, refusing to shake her hand and making lewd comments about her and ignoring her in a group setting. I had to ask around just to find out what she was even referring to. And what I found out was that she was specifically referring to my behavior at E3 a few years ago during a panel that consisted of myself, Pamela, and MatPat. This couldn't have happened because the circumstances in which they did don't exist. And if you don't believe me on that, that's okay. Ask MatPat, a third party there supposedly present when this happened. The outrage and the response of the internet was formed entirely by misinformation. People ran with a narrative formed by layers upon layers of accusations without facts. And that didn't matter. It wasn't important if it was true or not. A mob was beating me down, and everyone jumped in on it. Let's call it what it really is. It's bullying. Imagine them walking down the street and seeing a group of people beating someone down to the ground to the point that he's helpless and immobile. And without even knowing anything of the situation or what the truth even is, they joined in on it, just so that they could feel better than the person they were punching down on. What was amazing was seeing the sheer amount of coverage on drama YouTube channels. Not one of them tried to reach out to me. They aren't interested in truth or being fair. They wanted clicks. Oh, well, he's still a cheater. No cheating happened. I told my wife of the time that I no longer wanted to be with her in October of 2018. I was refused. I was denied. I had my career threatened. I felt controlled. I sought therapists and lawyers to assist in separating. We tried discernment therapy to no avail. I have texts from that time that show I was refused and that it was just going to be taken as a warning. And I have texts between myself and a professional third party well aware of the entire situation that shows I was trying to end it around that time. It was my choice to not be in that relationship anymore. Sometimes relationships don't harass Holly, don't harass Heidi, don't harass anybody. The next time you see someone being canceled with the mob attacking them and going after them, ask, what's the other side's story? Is there more to this? How do you know they deserve to be bullied and shamed? Through evidence or through public opinion? Nobody likes cancel culture until they get an opportunity to cancel someone.